Bilirakis, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it so much, and I thank the commissioners for their testimony today. Chairman Pai, in past hearings, I questioned your predecessor on his proposal to close various FCC field offices and the impact it could have on the radio frequency interference complaint response times. At the time, you were also concerned that these closures could erode the FCC's enforcement abilities. In the closing days of the last administration, the FCC closed 11 field offices, including one in Tampa. I represent part of the Tampa Bay area. I think you know that. In light of these closures, what actions has the FCC taken to ensure that interference complaints continue to be timely addressed?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. And it's no secret that I had substantial disagreements with the original reorganization plan that was proposed because it would have impacted the field, including places like Tampa. Going forward, we have tried to the best of our ability to use those resources in the field offices to aggressively attack issues like pirate radio that are a problem all across the eastern seaboard. Working with our Enforcement Bureau staff, during my tenure, we've issued 2 notices of apparent liability, 4 forfeiture orders, 39 notices of unlicensed operations. And that's just on the enforcement side. In terms of our rules going forward, we want to make sure that we take every step we can to put pirates on notice that both the staff at the FCC headquarters and the field office enforcement staff are cops on the beat to guard against that problem.
Thank you very much. Next question. The Commission has done a great job in the last few months bringing cases against scammers who violate the TCPA by making millions of unwanted robocalls to innocent consumers. I think we all agree that robocalls are a substantial consumer protection problem. As a matter of fact, I hear about it all the time from my constituents and even family members. So, Chairman Pai, could you tell us more about the FCC's robocall enforcement efforts and what makes it so difficult to identify these bad actors?
A terrific question. This is the #1 consumer protection issue, judging from the complaints that we get from consumers across the country. We took that to heart, and so out of the box in the first 6 months, we've already proposed the largest fine ever proposed by the FCC to go after a robocaller in Florida who imposed 100 million robocalls in just 3 months on American consumers. That's a $120 million proposed fine. 2 weeks ago, we proposed an additional fine to tackle another scammer who was essentially enabling others to make similar robocalls. We also set up on the rules side we're proposing to set up a reassigned numbers database so that those legitimate callers who want to stay in touch with their customers are able to do so free from liability. We've also empowered carriers to take steps to block spoofed calls, either calls that appear to be coming from your area code or even the first 3 numbers of your prefix, but they could be coming from another country. It's somebody masking their identity in order to get you to answer that phone. We're using every tool in the toolbox that we can, but it's very difficult. There are a lot of technical challenges, and that's why going forward, we've encouraged what's called a call authentication anchor. This would enable you to know that if you see a number on your phone, you can be assured that it is from the person who is assigned that telephone number. For a variety of reasons that we don't have time to get into, it's very technically complex to do that we have the best and brightest folks at the agency and in the industry working together to try to figure out this problem.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks for taking that action. Again, it's so important to our constituents. Ensuring that our elderly and disabled populations retain full access to technology is very important to me. And again, we don't want our elderly or any constituents being bothered with these unwanted robocalls, as you know. But on another issue, just this month, the FCC adopted rules to provide more video-described programming to blind and visually impaired Americans. Chairman Pai, can you describe what this will do for our visually impaired population and explain the timeline for implementation of the new standard?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. I'm very proud of our work in this area. So many of the things that we talk about when we're with our families involve movies or TV shows that we've seen. But imagine if the core scenes in a movie or a TV show required you to understand the nonverbal cues.
Yeah.
Those are things that blind and people simply can't take advantage of unless they have an audio description of what's going on. And so that's why, working together, we advanced more video description capability. That is, somebody narrating essentially the critical elements of a movie or film. This is something that Congress gave us the ability to do, and we've exercised that authority in order to give those with disabilities the maximum chance to participate. And we've done that across a number of different areas, by the way, not just on the video side, but with respect to those who are deaf and hard of hearing. We've taken a number of steps to ensure that they have the ability to enjoy communication services as well. And so using the tools that Congress has very generously given us, we want all of these communities to be digitally empowered, especially those with disabilities.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the commission for making it a priority.
Thank you.
So very important that our constituents have access. Thank you.
Gentleman yells back.